Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 till 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit's QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. During the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. So hi, I'm Lucy Johnson. I'm a fully qualified accountant and the owner of Isle Bookkeep, a newly established bookkeeping and accounting firm based on the Isle of Wight. We specialise in implementing paperless systems for our clients with a mission to take the stress out of accounting and to help business owners feel more in control of their finances. So today we're going to go through things that limited companies should consider before setting up, basically. But it's also going to help you as a limited company whilst you're set up. They may be things that you haven't thought about before. So let's dive straight in. So first of all, I'm going to give you a brief introduction to company types. So the three types of companies I'm going to talk you through today are limited companies or private limited companies, public limited companies, and limited by guarantee. So private limited companies is your normal limited company. You're limited by shares and you can sell the shares to your friends or your family. Public limited companies can sell shares to the public. If you're a public limited company, you can look quite credible because you need to have at least £50,000 paid up share capital. Limited by guarantee. Now you might think, what is this? I've not heard of this before. So this is basically a not-for-profit. So instead of having shareholders, it has guarantors. So these are basically members. And it basically means that their personal liability is limited to the guaranteed amount that they agree to contribute towards the debts of the company. So how are you going to set up your company? We're assuming that you're going to set up a standard private limited company. How are you going to set up? Well, you can do it through the government website. That's the best place. There's also lots of other companies that can help you set that up. You can look online, and we also offer this service too. When you set up a company, you'll have key documents such as articles of association, board meeting minutes, so the first board meeting minutes, share certificates, memorandum of association, and then your certificate of incorporation. But let's go right back to setting up that limited company. You need to think of a company name. It needs to be memorable. This is going to be what appears potentially on search engines for your SEO. And you need to think about, what does this company name convey to my audience? It needs to reflect your brand message. Does it do what it says on the tin? So in my case, Isle Bookkeep is self-explanatory. Also check that the domain is available. So that's your website. So in my case, www.islebook-keep.co.uk is available, so I could go ahead. You also want to check that the name is available itself. So you can check this on Companies House, and there are loads of free checkers out there. You need to make sure basically that your company name does not have swear words in it. It's not rude. There aren't restricted words such as king or war. You need to look into that a little bit. And is your company name similar to other companies? Does it have that similarity? You need to basically check that you're not copying anyone. You also need to think about trademarks. Really, really important. Check that there's no intellectual property. You can do this by going to intellectual property offices online, on the online register. That's really, really important because obviously you don't want to be stealing anyone else's IP. So then you think about things such as your virtual office or your office address. So first of all, I'm going to go through your virtual address service. So this is the address that you can use as your company's registered office or the director's service address, right? So this is the company's registered office on Companies House. So this means that Companies House and HMRC will send all their letters to that address and they will be forwarded on to you. It's likely that you don't want your residential address on the public record on Companies House, so watch out for that. Then you've got a virtual office service. So this is an address that you can use as your trade-in address. So mail will be sent to that address and then obviously it will be forwarded on to yourself. You can get this either physically or some companies now do it electronically, which can be really, really useful. So most virtual office services also include the virtual address service. So that's really important. You might want both, you might want one, depending on what reason you're using it for, basically. So with both of these services, a lot of companies like the appearance of having an address like that. So for myself, on the Isle of Wight, I have a residential address. I could potentially have a London address, and it might look a bit more prestigious, I guess, for myself. Next one, do you need a business bank account? This is really quick and easy. Yes, you do. As a limited company, it's a separate legal entity, so therefore you must have a separate bank account in the company name. Simple as that. Business and personal finances must be kept completely separate. So what legal requirements will you have? Well, you've got yearly filings. So you've got your annual accounts, which can be produced and filed with Companies House and HMRC, and they need to be in either International Financial Reporting Standards or UK GAAP standards. Very important. A confirmation statement must also be filed each year to Companies House. This is literally just updates of your information. So things like your address, director's details, etc. Another legal thing I would definitely think about, certainly in this day and age, is GDPR. If you process or control personal data, you must comply with GDPR. It's that simple. Although there is a little bit more to it than that. If you're VAT registered and you have a website, clearly display your VAT number on your website. Your website also must have a privacy notice, and you need to disclose things like cookies. If you're an e-commerce site, there are a few other requirements, so do look into that. And insurances is a big thing. Public liability, professional indemnity, product liability. You need to look into things like that. Make sure that you're fully covering your business. Seeking investment. So why would you want an investor to be involved? Well, you can start your business with a lot more capital. Great. You can increase your cash flow with them as well. You can also take on an investor for somebody else's experience. So they might have sales and marketing experience. And they can also open up doors for you. Now, this is really important. If they can introduce you to customers, manufacturers, software developers, this could really grow your business. So you would want to bring an investor on board. So common ways you can seek investment would be friends and family. So for a limited company, that's like standard. And we've also got banks and other loans. But there are also options such as angel investors, venture capitalists, investment crowdfunding, and impact investors. And another thing to always think about, remember, you can always seek investment at any point during your business. We talk about it being kind of an investment at the beginning. It's actually best sometimes to do it in the middle. So whenever seems financially viable, basically. If you need any other help with investment kind of things, you need to speak to a financial advisor, because I am not a financial advisor. Business plan. So having a great business plan is going to set yourself up for success. There are loads online, loads of templates. You need to find one and go through the core elements. So these are your company goals, what product or service is the core business that your business is doing? Who are your customers going to be? Why are they going to buy from you and not your competitors? Very important. How are you going to get these customers? What's your sales and marketing strategy? And what finances do you need to survive? So one of the other things, how are you going to do your accounts? So regardless of whether you're going to be using an accountant or not, you need to keep all your records, your transactions, both in and out of the business. So this is the bookkeeping that we discussed on my last Ask the Expert. Also make sure that you keep records such as mileage and things like that. And how are you going to keep them? Are you going to be paper-based? Are you going to be paperless? And how is that system going to work for you to produce the accounts or your accountant? If you're going to hire an accountant, the best way I would personally recommend is to get them involved as soon as possible. Do not leave things until last minute. And the final part I want to leave you on today is collecting payments. At the end of the day, we're all businesses, we need to make money. How are we going to collect our payments? Well, there's loads of payment methods. You've got PayPal, Go Cardless, Stripe, things like that. All these systems can work with your accounting software. You can even have your invoice set up so that you've got easy payment options. They click on your invoice and it goes direct. You can pay quickly. Also, you need to think, are you going to have a card reader? Do you have a shop? Are you going to have a card reader? You know, are you going to accept upfront payments? Are you going to set payment terms? If so, what are these? 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, what are they? The main thing I'm going to leave you on now, this is the last point, keep on top of chasing your payments. You are a business, you are here to make money. Have good credit control, get into good habits. So without further ado, let's go straight to some of your questions. Okay, so Danielle on Instagram DM. I have no clue how to write a business plan. What should it include and who can help me get it right? Okay, so first of all, I'm an accountant, but I would not go through a business plan. But I have gone through the core elements of what you need to be thinking about. So your company goals, core products and services, who your customer is, why they're going to buy from you and not your competitors, how you're going to get the customers, so sales and marketing, and what finances you're going to be needing to survive. So hopefully that gives you a rough idea. Go and have a look online. There are loads of business plans, and I would suggest to sit down, take a good few hours. You know, this is time that you really need to dedicate to your business. It's gonna reap the rewards if you get things like this right. You need to know your why. Why am I in business? Why am I doing this? What am I trying to achieve? It's got to be more than just money. It does. It has to come from the heart. It needs to be a true why. From there, you can set up your business based on your core values. And that is the best advice I can give you on that. Thank you, Danielle. Right. Okay, so Talia on Facebook Messenger. I'm a hairdresser and I've just opened my own salon. Oh, congratulations, Talia. I've previously operated as self-employed, but now I have my own place. Do I need to set up as a company? If so, what type of company makes sense for my operation? Okay, so it completely depends on your circumstances, basically. You're set up as self-employed. You have your own place. Do you need to set up as a company? No. My straight answer, you don't need to set up as a company. As I've run through today, there's a lot more to a company than you might think. You know, there's a lot more legal requirements. You need to publish your accounts that go onto Companies House. So you need to be thinking, is this for me? Is it going to complicate things, or does it make sense? Also, with a limited company, you're going to need to think about, right, would I want to, as the director of this company, would I want to set up dividends? So would I want to pay myself quarterly, annual, biannual dividends to pay myself? And also, would I want to set up a payroll for myself? So maybe a small level director salary. So they're also things that you need to start thinking about. You can't just kind of take, like, every 2 weeks, you can't just take dividends out of your business. HMRC is going to see that and not like it, basically. So you need to think about, does this make sense for me? Obviously your accounting fees are going to increase. It's no longer just a simple sole trader accounts and tax return. It's now limited company accounts, your corporation tax. You're going to have dividends, so you're going to need your self-assessment as well. This is getting really technical, I know. So there's a lot going on. Does it make sense to you? If you're a hairdresser, are you working on your own? Are you working in business with someone? Does it make sense to become a partnership maybe? So there's so many options, and you really need to think, is this going to work for me? Okay, let's have a look. Okay, I'm a sole trader working in the construction industry, but I'm looking to build a bit more of a team, which may include an apprentice. What's the best way for me to be operating? Sorry, I never said. It's Ewan on the Instagram DMs. So you're a sole trader in the construction industry. So first of all, I'm thinking, are you the contractor or the subcontractor or both? But I'm looking to build a bit more of a team. That's fantastic. Like, congratulations. Even if it's an apprentice, what a fantastic way to start. So that's brilliant. What's the best way for me to be operating? So basically, oh, sorry, I nearly lost it then. So basically, it's whatever way works best within your business. As a sole trader, you can have an apprentice quite happily on the payroll. You need to now think, okay, as a limited company, would I rather be on a director's salary? Do I have the funds to pay myself, a director's salary? And on top of that, how often would I pay my dividends? Now, the reason I bring this up quite a bit is because I do not agree with people, or I don't suggest that people would pay themselves dividends monthly. HMRC are going to see this and look at it and think, okay, that's a payroll. So you should be paying over the tax, basically. So if that makes sense for your business, yeah, why not? In your circumstance, there's no reason you couldn't be a sole trader. So it doesn't necessarily mean you need to, but it's also about your tax situation. How much are you paying out? Let's go for another one. Okay. Leanne on Twitter DMs. If there's another company with a similar name to you, do you think it's better to change yours? And is there any worth in trademarking our name? So this is quite a personal one because it's completely up to you whether you trademark it. And also trademarks can be very expensive. So you need to you could find out how much they cost and basically work out, is this something that the business needs or wants? Also, how big are you going to grow this business? If you're going to grow it massive and you think that you're going to have problems with a trademark, it might be sensible to kind of to go down that route. If there's a company with a similar name to you, the question is, how similar is it? Is it almost identical? Then I would think of changing it. If it's not, there shouldn't be too much of a problem, and it might be something that you think, okay, I'm going to trademark this to kind of cover my back. So that's my advice, Leanne. Okay. Okay, ready. So Sam on Facebook Messenger. My operation is pretty small and I don't really get enough mail or make enough money at the moment to warrant setting up a PO box. However, I really want my personal address. I don't really want, sorry, my personal address on Companies House. What should I do? This is what I was talking about earlier. So basically, if you don't want your PO box, your personal address on Companies House, makes complete sense. Most people don't have a virtual address. This will mean that the address on Companies House, the registered company address or registered company office, will basically be a different company. You say you don't make enough money at the moment to warrant setting up a PO box. So basically, you need to make the decision whether you do want a virtual address or your personal address. You can also, it's worth pointing out that your accountant can also use their address. So that could be another option, that your registered office address is your accountant's. So that could be another way around that. Let's go to the next one. Okay, Curtis on Instagram DMs. It's the early days of my business and I'm still figuring out how to divvy up the income. Is there a general rule on how much profit I should take home versus how much should be reinvested back into my business? Oh, this is really a personal question. No, there's not a general rule. The general rule I have at the top of my mind is save for tax. So 20% should go straight in the tax pot. There's not a general rule of how much you should take back or be reinvested. That's completely personal. If you reinvest it all back into your business, you're going to reap the rewards. Great. But how much can you live on? That's my question. So I think it's really, really important to kind of have a really clear idea, right? I am going to reinvest everything, or this is the amount that I need to save. Let's have a look. Trying to find a juicy one in the last few minutes. Okay, Tara on Twitter DMs. My business currently doesn't make a lot, and bank feeds for our business account is eating into what little we do have. Do I need a business account? Sorry, I've lost it. Do I need a business account, or are there other cheaper options? Okay, so if it doesn't make a lot, but if it's making anything, yeah, pretty much it needs a separate business account. If it was a dormant account, I would say it's been dormant the whole time, you don't need a business account. But in this circumstance, because the business is making money, yes, you do. There aren't really any other options. I mean, the cheapest out there, I think it's about £7 a month. So do have a look into the different options you have. So if it's less than, if it's more than that, look into the cheapest option. But in that circumstance, yeah, it's basically you do need to keep a business account. Right, let's have a look at another one. Right, Aaron on Facebook Messenger. I've set up a company and have secured the website and some social media handles with the same name. Fantastic, great way to start. On Twitter though, there's someone using it. Can I legally challenge them so I can get it, or should I come up with something different? It's one of those things, Aaron, that if you haven't got a trademark, you can't legally challenge it. No. At the end of the day, it also depends on whether you're a company or a sole trader. You said you set up a company, so yeah, it's still, no, you can't legally challenge it, basically. You need to basically work around it as best you can, whether that's, an underscore in your name, whether you put official at the end. It happens to the best of us when you can't get the one, but you have done really well. You need to think that sometimes the domain is not available. That is a real, a big one. And I would then say, well, is the company name right? For you, you've got your website, you've got the other social media handles, it's just the Twitter one. Tweak it a little bit. And my best advice as well is double check, like keep looking in on it. Is it available yet? Because that's really important. They do, they get changed. You could potentially contact them and basically find out, are they willing to change theirs slightly? And it might be something that you can kind of negotiate. But from a legal standpoint, I mean, I am not a financial advisor. I am not, well, it's not even finance. I'm not a solicitor, so do check your grounds. But yeah, should I do the last one? Okay, so I'll quickly do this last one. Linda on Twitter DMs. Currently have a short-term contract and it's been found to be inside IR35. What does this mean for me? So I'm just going to quickly explain this before I go on to the poll results. So basically, IR35 means that, so are you working for the company? So my best advice for you, you say it's inside IR35, I would double check. HMRC have a tool called CEST, so CEST. Double check on there to see if you definitely are within IR35. And basically, it stands with the company. So it wouldn't stand with yourself. It would stand with the big company that is dealing with it. So it will be a conversation you need to have with them. But double check where you stand with that using the CEST tool. Right, the poll results are in. We asked you, what is the hardest part of starting a new business? 20% of you said setting it up. 30% of you said seeking investment. 40% of you said doing accounts. And 10% answered writing a business plan. That's very interesting that 40% of you said doing accounts. That can be a real minefield, I think, when you come from just your standard sole trader accounts all the way to your limited company stuff. So yeah, that's really, really interesting. Followed by seeking investment and then setting up. Fantastic. Okay. So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in contact with me, feel free to DM me on my Instagram is the best place. So it's @IslebookKeep. Find out more about my business as well on www.islebook-keep.co.uk. And you can book in a free call with me there if you want to chat about anything accounts. So coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Kim Arnold, a branding, marketing and communications expert. Wow. And author of Email Attraction. That sounds like a juicy one. Tune in to learn how you can create emails that make people jump into action. A reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit's QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions today. Have a great morning. Have a good day. Bye.